So here we are standing in front of this incredible archaeological site. Like I said, it's called the Broad Wall. And why is that important? If you came to Jerusalem in the past, well, decades, you would have noticed coming through the Jewish quarter, just sort of down below the street level, this very thick wall. And the reason why this is so important is because this wall was from the time of King Hezekiah and Uzziah. Remember, we talked about them at the city of David at the beginning of our virtual pilgrimage. And what this was a wall that protected them against the Assyrians. And so you have Hezekiah Tunnel. He also made sure that this wall was built. Now, since we're talking about Daniel, the prophet, why are we standing in front of the Broad Wall? Well, it's because most recently they've uncovered this part of the Broad Wall. It's actually from a much later time, in a sense. It's called the Israelite Tower. And this has direct relation to Daniel. Daniel would have seen this wall, of course, because it already existed. Perhaps it had been partly destroyed and then rebuilt, of course, after that. But the Israelite Tower, when they did archaeological excavations, they found arrowheads from the Babylonians. They found evidence of a siege. They found evidence of a breach. What does that have to do with Daniel? He was one of these young men who was from a noble family. He was very well educated. And so if you were a Babylonian and you were sieging the city, just read the Bible. It says they took the well-educated and they brought them into the king's court. And that's what happened to Daniel. And so from here, he was taken to Babylon. He became one of the best advisors of the king. And then he died there. So to show you where he lived, what he may have seen with his own eyes, and where he was taken from, we came here to this place. Now, what does that have to do with our virtual pilgrimage? Well, you've listened to the song, and one of the verses or one of the words are these, that we know the story very, very well. It says, Daniel in the lion's den, the bravest of the king's men. We know the story. He was put in the lion's den, and what happened there? The lions did nothing to him. Now, why was he put there? Because he was faithful to the Lord. Don't forget, the king over there told everyone that they could not worship anyone but Darius. You know what Daniel did? He said, the heck with that. Now, he was in a very high position. If he were to have continued to worship the Lord, the true God, that means that he could have been killed. Wow. But he didn't stop his worship. In fact, it says in the Bible that he worshiped 3 times a day. Now, King Darius loved him a lot because he was extremely wise, not just because he was well educated here in Jerusalem. He had a wisdom that came from the Lord himself. But because there were other people that were going against Daniel, they threw him, because he had to, death sentence, into the lion's den. Now, it's interesting to note something about Daniel. Why was he considered so courageous? He put his trust in the Lord God. He didn't put his trust in his position or in the king. He trusted God. So in the lion's den, you always see pictures of him in a certain sense. He's praying when he's there. He's trusting in God. However, you know what happened to the king that night? He was awake and he was worried the entire night until he was able to go and ask, actually he called out to Daniel, Daniel, are you there? Are you there? Was your God, Daniel's God, able to save you from the jaws of the lion? We know the answer. The answer is yes. And he was there and the lions were probably asleep. Okay, but we know what happened after. Just to refresh our memories of the story, they took the people who were against Daniel and they threw them into the lion's den and immediately they devoured them. What does that say about his courage? It shows us where our courage should be, and that is in the Lord God himself. Regardless of the fact that if we're going to lose our position, lose all of the respect that we've been given, lose everything that we have, including our life, where does courage lie? In the strength of the Lord God himself. So this is a lesson that we can learn, and it's something that I think helps us a lot on our pilgrimage journey to remember that this is something that points us back to the true King and Lord, God himself. And that is certainly why we can call him the most courageous of the king's men. Wow. So thank you for joining us, and I hope you can come and see this for yourself someday. And know that we're praying for you from this very holy city of Jerusalem.
If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and give it a thumbs up. It's an easy way for you to support our ministry and help us share the message of Jesus from Magdala in the Holy Land right to you in your home.